everyone. My name is Michelle Mercier, and I'm the CEO and president of the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce. And welcome to another membership spotlight video. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Bob Patton, co-founder and chairman, and Rob Patton, co-founder and chief marketing officer of Green Meadows Cannabis Dispensary. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Did I get titles right?
Titles are right.
Okay.
Names are right. I think.
All right.
So. Yeah,
I like
good.
it.
Yeah.
I think I can approve of that.
All right.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
I do have to say, though, I was once CEO, but my children kicked me upstairs where I can do less damage. So I'm now chairman, and I leave the hard work to my sons, Rob and his brother, Chris, who's our CEO.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Family affair, which I want to dive into, guys. So I don't know who wants to start, but my first delve is to share you personal backgrounds and kind of that family legacy aspect of Green Meadows, which is so important. So I don't know who wants to take that one.
Sure, I'll take it. And I always lead with a couple of things. By an accident of birth, I am the grandson of the World War II General George S. Patton Jr.
Great way to put it.
His son, my father, was George S. the Fourth, if you can believe it. Also an Army officer, 2 stars, retired after 34 years. Rob knows the litany, 3 tours in Vietnam and Korea and all that stuff. So he was a real deal as far as being a veteran of service, and I'm grateful for what he did. We always, as a company and as a family, are grateful to all veterans, but it does come from that inherited legacy.
Sure.
And while we're in a business, obviously to do well for our family and for our investors and for our community, but also because of that, we do have a special attention and an obligation we feel to taking care of veterans as best we can, whether hiring, education, and obviously charitable support where we can. So it's part of who we are. And I'm not a veteran myself. I did ROTC a couple of years in the post-Vietnam period and took a different turn. But that respect and that sense of real gratification for, gratitude, for the people that have borne that brunt for all of us is undying in us.
So then, how'd you get to cannabis? That's always the question, right? Like,
Sure.
That seems like an interesting road, guys.
Yeah. I'll take it one more, and then Rob can provide the color. But my father, when he retired in 1980 to land that had been bought by his father, the famous general, in 1928, he decided he wasn't one to just put his feet up. It was just kind of lawns and woods. Yeah. He turned it into an organic produce farm, and here's this kind of right-leaning Republican, cranky old ex-soldier who says, "I'm going to become an organic expert," and he really dove into it and did it until he passed away from Parkinson's in 2004. Wow. And my mother then carried it forward. As she was getting into her late 80s, she called the family together, literally around a kitchen table, and said, "I'm not sure I can continue with the farm. Yeah. Any ideas? Do you want to keep farming? Do you want to lease the lands?" And my younger sister, who lives in Europe, is very involved there with particularly greatest generation soldiers that go back to see the old battlefields in Europe. Yeah. But through that, she had a real affiliation with veterans groups in general, and said, "What about cannabis on the medical side? Possible help with PTSD sufferers." And at first, my mother was at the table, all of about 87, 88 at the time, said, "Over my dead body, will we go into cannabis?" Yeah. But we began to look at it really from the point of view of, it may sound overly virtuous, but we really did think, what good can we do? Yeah. We already are farming. Can we then sort of go into cannabis as an organic cultivator? And the situation in Massachusetts is such that if you're in the medical space in cannabis, you need to be vertically integrated. So we couldn't just be a grower, which was our original intention. Right. And so we moved into the retail side because we had to be vertically integrated. And as that took forward, you realize as a business, it was important to have the adult use capability as well. So we added that. And so here we are now with our production facility, our cultivation, and now our 3rd store coming into Marlborough. It's been quite a journey. People are sometimes surprised that the Patton family, the heirs of these generals and earlier forebears, how could this be? But after a while, it becomes, and this is important to me, it becomes kind of unremarkable and routine in a way. We are a business. We have certain obligations and responsibilities because it is cannabis. Yeah. But we also say we are a business that wants to do well for our staff, for our customers, for our community, and just like every other business. But we do recognize that there are other responsibilities, both as a family, what we sort of people think that perhaps we represent a little bit, and also just as a business in an industry which is still emerging from some controversial shadows, fortunately.
Sure. Anything to add?
Yeah, I think it's important to acknowledge, too, that so the original name of the farm that my grandfather, Bob's father, started was Green Meadows. So
Yeah.
that was
That's where it
the
came
company name going into it. Yeah, exactly.
great.
So we do our best to try to tie in military or veteran connotations whenever we can. We tie things to the family, to what we built in Green Meadows, the original farm, but still also focused on our local communities as well. And now in Marlborough, of course. And as my dad mentioned as well, it's very, very important for us as a family and as a company that we always maintain medical as a piece of the business, right? Adult use is great for those that, can get access to it for their medicine or their recreational, whatever they need. But, even though there's a little bit more cost to doing so, and even though it's full vertical integration to do so, it is important for us to be able to give back through the medical channels that Massachusetts offers.
Yeah, and I mean, it's helped you stay true to your mission.
Well,
right?
you got it exactly
Yeah.
right. And sometimes it's tempting to say it's easier to just to do the adult use road. Let me say, neither is that road easy either.
was gonna
But
say, no, it's
the medical is another. It's a separate licensing track, separate obligations as far as product development and all. And but we won't lose that because that really is where we started, and we'll always want to be a part of.
That's amazing. And I know you have a charity foundation. What is it again that
We
you
do.
have? Tell me about that part of it.
Yeah,
too.
so it's called the Green Meadows Patton Alliance for Veterans,
Thank you.
and
Yes.
it was really born out of the early years of Green Meadows, 2021, 2022 or so. I tried to light up some initiatives to actually donate our funds to veteran charities, things like Folds of Honor, Wounded Warrior, and quickly received some declines on that front, mainly because a lot of those charities do not accept funding from cannabis companies because we're federally illegal and they get federal grants.
Okay.
So
got it.
the way through that was, okay, let's create a 501c3 on the side of the business called the Patton Alliance, and then allow cannabis companies to donate into that. And then we then funnel those funds to different veterans charities from there. A combination of national charities like Stop Soldier Suicide, the Black Veterans Project. Then we also focus on our local commitments as well. So right now, we just opened in Marlborough, so we're still figuring that one out.
Sure.
Our other two locations in Southbridge and Fitchburg, we donate to the Southbridge Veterans Council and then the Friends of Fitchburg Veterans.
So why Marlborough? Why'd you come this
Why
way?
not?
Explain, guys. I know there's a story. That's why I'm asking.
No. If we go, we were not we were by no means a first mover in cannabis, but we the medical side, I think, came into Massachusetts in 2012, and we sort of opened our store. Around 2020 was when we opened Southbridge. 2021.
Wow. COVID. Wow.
Yeah, right in the thick of it.
But it takes a couple of years even to get to that point.
Sure.
But and Southbridge has been great. But initially, when you're looking around, the towns were all skittish in those days. Is the sky going to fall if we open a retail or even a medical cannabis facility, in our community? And I get it because of the histories and the controversies that are associated with it. So I always joke that in the early days, you'd go and you'd look at the where can I put a store in a town, and they say, yeah, we've got a lovely spot for you on the end of a dirt road by the town dump.
With the lights off.
Yes,
All
exactly.
the lights are
But then
broken.
people began to realize, I think, and I bet you're better aware of this than I am, that property values begin to go up around these places. Because why? Because there's so much of a responsibility to have, make sure your clientele is behaving and well behaved, and your staff
Very
are
well
vetted,
regulated,
and the security's there. You don't want these places to look like sort of armed Fort Knox, facilities. But that's an important component, certainly in the earlier days. But now that it's become to a point where, yes, you can bring a great business in, you can have wonderful local employees that come in, you can provide work, you provide benefits, and then you start looking around. Well, let's find a community that is now maybe welcoming. And Marlborough obviously has had cannabis stores in it, and has, I think, 3 others now. We were happy to get the 4th because Marlborough is just that kind of a town where there's such vitality here. The location where we are, obviously in the Arcade Center there, is just we felt so lucky to see that open up and to have an opportunity to go there. And it really completes our portfolio as our 3rd, which is the maximum allowable retail dispensary facility, because three is the most you can have. Correct, Rob? And so to put that 3rd little plum in our basket was really a privilege for us. We can't wait to really dig our heels in and become a real part of the community here.
Yeah, I will say, and you gave me a beautiful tour of the facility, and you're exactly right. I mean, I think what I've found heading the chamber is that the cannabis groups are the first ones to give back usually, and they're the first ones to kind of open their doors and be friendly, and be good business partners within the community, which I think is so valuable. And you've demonstrated that. You demonstrated that even before you set foot in Marlborough as a business. You were here last year with us talking, for different things, because you do believe in the community so much, right?
100%. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's part of our ethos is we're not just a retail shop that's slinging marijuana, right?
Yeah.
We're a part of the fabric of the communities that we're in. I mean, we've only been open 3.5 weeks in Marlborough, and the reception has already been overwhelmingly positive from those new customers that have come in, the ones that we can't wait to meet this weekend at the grand opening. And it's something where you look at the staff that we have in Southbridge and Fitchburg, the total company. I think about 70% of our staff live in the towns that we're operating in, right? So they know the people, they know the businesses. So, I think we're just excited to enter a new municipality that's been super welcoming to us, has obviously been super friendly to cannabis. And it is definitely different though, right? Our Southbridge and Fitchburg locations, a little bit more, industrial, let's say. Marlborough, again, we're right in the RK Center at 239 Boston Post Road West.
Great location.
And we're sharing a parking lot with a Chipotle and Atlantic Poke, right? Like that's not existing in the other two towns. So we're super excited for that, what partnerships that may bring.
You have prime spot over there. That's a great location.
We do. Freestanding building, so it was fun. We are in units elsewhere, and it was great to see it go up. I mean, the parking's great. Our business neighbors are great, and as I say, we're newbies in town, but we do want to make a positive impact on multiple fronts. And I want to throw props to other companies as well. Cannabis the industry is under strain. It doesn't rain money as was the initial sort of rumor, and yet companies like ours, and I know many others, do try to keep an eye on their charitable role in their community. Veterans are always top of the list, which I'm very proud of. When I was a young kid coming of age after Vietnam, that wasn't the case.
Right.
And now I love it when I see veterans highlighted, across the businesses in America, where they say, let's not forget and let's always remember. And we tried to be in the forefront of that. My father did always in his farm, and we are just one other player in that same kind of, crusade.
I love it. So the question that I always get as the chamber head as well is, there's so many cannabis places. What sets you apart? What makes you different?
Let Rob carry that one.
So first thing is the people, right? I mean, it really is, right? You walk into our store and you're going to see faces and names that most likely from your community around you. And that's true at every single Green Meadows that you go to, right? And look, I can talk about award-winning and things like that we have accomplished, of course, in the other stores. But it really is, when you do walk into Green Meadows, you do get the sense of it's more hospitable, it's more welcoming.
It is definitely welcoming.
A lot of dispensaries in the state, and again, not throwing shade or anything like that, but they call their staff bud tenders, right? It's kind of the common term. You're walking up to the counter to get some bud from the bud tender. We don't look at it as a bar, right? It's more hospitable, it's more welcoming. So we call them guest service associates or GSAs. So little things like that where we just, we want to make it, feel like you're coming to a place where the person across the counter from you, you feel comfortable in there. You're not. I think there's so much fear, uncertainty, and doubt with a lot of cannabis consumers and shoppers out there still that we do our best to remove that right from the moment that you enter the doors. So that's really number one. My oldest brother actually lives out in Southern California, so we did a lot of research early on dispensaries, mature dispensaries out there, and kind of the vibe that they brought, right? And I think the classic one is the Apple Store feel, right? You get that at a lot of places.
The customer service.
We didn't want that, right? We didn't want the Apple bar, and we also wanted to give thanks or give nod to the heritage of the family as well. So you walk in, there's a lot of wood, there's a lot of greenery, there's a little bit of a agricultural feel. But also we will be medical in Marlborough as well. So there's going to be the medical counter that's just for those patients and caregivers, and then right next to the recreational consumers as well. So again, I think that's the big thing. Of course, again, I can talk about product depth and brand, variety across the menu and all that. We believe in a good, better, best model on our menu. So if you want, more cost-efficient products that are, just, right for your wallet, we've got that. If you want the premium stuff that's, a little bit higher end, we've got that. And so there's really something for everyone at Green Meadows.
Yeah, I think when you're building a business, it's all about how you make the customers feel, right? Yeah. It's so that they remember you and they come back and they, or become repeat customers. And and through building your legacy, you have done so. And I agree with everything that you just said about the location. When you walk in, you can feel it, which is really lovely. Now, you guys have a big event coming up, back to back, 2 days.
We do,
so
yes.
What do you got going on?
Yeah, well, thanks to the chamber. So this Friday, the 12th, we have our grand opening doing Celebration Our Ribbon Cutting with you guys
Very excited.
starting at 11:30. And we've got a host of folks coming from the chamber. We've got you, Michelle.
we'll be
We've
there.
got Ty Jordan's coming. We've got folks from the American Heritage Museum are coming.
good.
Yeah,
That's
we've
great.
got our
place.
Veteran Services Officer in town, Mike Hennessy, is going to be there.
awesome.
So it was really important for us to establish that, again, we're leaning into the community with this opening. So that's the kind of the ribbon cutting day. And then the 13th Saturday is a full day long celebration.
It looks awesome.
It does, yes. Yeah, we're going to have a bunch
the
of
weather's
partners.
gonna be great.
The weather's
I
going to be
know,
great.
I
It's
know.
72 and sunny, something like that. So yeah, we've got partners all day long that'll be doing pop-ups. We'll have,
Great.
some different specials and things on the menu for those customers that want to come check it out. A variety of food vendors coming to support us as well. So
Yeah.
get some free food down at Green Meadows, and then some live music on the floor. And then the 98.5 The Hub Street Team will be there, giving away some tickets to a local New England team that plays in Foxborough. So we've, yes.
Just those guys.
Just,
Just can't say
yeah.
that.
I may not be able to say the name, but
That's
yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Michelle, if I could interject one thing that is really, I talked about it with our GSAs, our guest services associates at Marlborough, sort of the new staff, and some of the ones that transferred over from our other stores. They're our face, and so when folks come in, their presentation of their own characters, their own personalities. We've got all dreadlocks and tattoos, or we might have someone who's now just gone back to a woman who's maybe her children are older, she's back in the workforce, working for us, grandchildren. They are our face. So I really say that, the product line and where Rob and his staff come in and make sure that we've got what people want. We've got the different price points, still with quality at all levels, but that's all really important. But I told them, I said, my favorite review that we've ever gotten, it was actually, I think, the Southbridge store, but I said, this is what I want for you. And it was on Google, all of them, we got hundreds of them now, but they were clearly it was an older voice that was writing. It was quite long. And he said, my wife and I had never been in a cannabis dispensary before. Yeah. We went into the Southbridge and we told them right away, we were very intimidated. We had no intention of buying the product. They said, we told them, but we wondered if we could take a look inside. And they said we were invited in. There was no hard sell. They showed us. We had some patent memorabilia there, which we tend to do from the family. And we're going to try to bring that to Marlborough as well. Yeah. But they said so. This review is not about the product. We can't tell you anything about that. But we will tell you that the atmosphere was fun, and yet serious and welcoming, and yet clearly aware of that this was an industry that put some people back on their heels. And so I urge anyone that is interested in a cannabis store, whether for medical or retail purposes, Green Meadows is a great choice. And I said, that's what I love. They didn't buy anything. They didn't spend a nickel, but you made them feel welcome, and they left saying this industry and this store and this family is a good place to be.
Yeah, it's an extension of your family legacy.
So I said, that's my goal. We'll worry about, let me worry at 2 a.m. about how the sales were yesterday. Let them worry about welcoming the next person that walks through the door.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. Well, tell people where they can find you, website, location again, all that good stuff.
Yes, so we're at greenmeadows.com is our website. So you can check it out there. We've got the full menu for everything in Marlborough and our other 2 stores. You can also sign up for our Harvest Club loyalty program there, so you can collect points and cash those in for products and other things. Get access to new products and events that are happening all the time. You can swing by 239 Boston Post Road West, right across the street from Apex Entertainment.
Fantastic location.
So super excited about that. And same parking lot again. Chipotle, Raising Cane's, McDonald's, the new Shaw's that's going in. So there's a lot of businesses around us. So while you're doing your middle of the day errands or whatever, swing by, grab a couple joints. And we'll see you there.
That works. Anything else you guys want to add while we're wrapping up?
Well, listen, I think how about thanks again, because from our first foray into the town, just kind of feeling our way, we heard that there might be a possibility. It was welcoming. So whenever I speak of Marlborough and like our other communities, I just say, as a fellow business person, I would say to them, come in and have a look. This town is hopping, and you've got to have a ton of support in Town Hall, City Hall, and among the chamber. And that really makes the business's life so much easier when they've got a partner.
That's amazing.
And I will just mention again, just from an awareness standpoint, so right now we are adult use only, so 21 plus to shop. Our application's in, we're waiting on the state. So in a couple of months, hopefully, right before the holidays, I believe, we're going to aim to be medical available in Marlborough as well, which opens up things for anyone that's a patient or a caregiver. And then also offers discounts for things like even just being a citizen of Marlborough, you get a discount for coming in. And I always like to mention we have the most aggressive discounts for veterans in the state of Massachusetts. Wow. 30% every single day, 40% twice a month on the 11th and 22nd of every month.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you're a veteran or even a direct family member of a veteran, and you have your medical card, once that's live, come on down for some fantastic discounts.
You can see I leave Rob to the nuts and bolts, and Chris, and I can tell you all about what it was like as growing up as a general's grandson and all the rest. And
Tell us
Rob
about
will
1928.
Rob will take you about, and Chris, who's not here, and on all our team, we really do run great discounts. We really do try to say, you come through the door, we're going to do the best you can and give you every kind of benefit you can on your pricing, and whatever benefits through loyalty or just because you're a veteran or related to a veteran, because those things, if you don't back it up, why do it? The same with the 501c3. When people send money to us, it goes right through, and there's nothing skimmed off for operations. It goes right to the people that need it.
That's amazing.
And we're just sort of a clearinghouse for people.
I love the fact that you're operating such a high level of integrity, gentlemen. Very nice.
Easily
Very
said,
nice job.
but I think we back it up.
Yeah, you have to walk the walk, right? Well, thank you so much, guys, for sharing your story and your insights about Green Meadows. It really is inspiring to see the family come together and do all of this and continue the legacy and work with integrity, like I said, and all of that. And for those of you at home, please help spread the word about this great business, and don't forget to shop local, and we will see you next time.